I'm going for just a little bit of a change.
That's the purpose of eldership, is to have variety. Hey! Back up.
All right, so we're here. It's crazy that we are here again at the end of 2016, and it's even crazier that we're going to be at the beginning of 2017. I can't believe that we're here, but we are here. We have finished our sermon arc, or sermon theme, or however you want to say it.
Is vocal too?
We have finished. We've finished our sermon arc, or sermon theme, however you want to say it, on growth in the tension, specifically on education and discernment, looking at the larger picture of beauty. Thanks. A question that I have for you, and when we think of education and discernment, do you feel over the course of this year of 2016 that, as you were walking into 2016 from 2015 and then now walking into 2017, do you feel like in your mind you have more of an emphasis on education? You feel more likely to explore and research things? Do you feel like you have more of an emphasis on discernment, of really looking at things critically? Do you feel like there's a correlation between what we've taught and those feelings? I would hope that you do. We've done a lot of, subtle pushing in the direction of that, and then we've done some not so subtle pushing in the direction of that.
I would err on not so subtle.
James would err on not so subtle. And we're pretty obvious when we say that we're pushing in that, just like as you've heard lately that our push is moving toward outreach, and we're constantly pointing that out. So before we begin, is there anything you guys want? Is there any comments or questions about this last year that we can answer for you before we sort of begin breaking it down? Going to take that as a no. Yeah, that's actually a point that we're going to talk about. Did you have your hand up? Mom? Did I see your hand up?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well then, let's begin. So we have several subjects that we need to cover. We're going to be discussing resources, which is what this church uses as a term for ministries. We're going to be discussing, obviously the whole of it, we'll be discussing sermon arcs and the themes. We're going to be discussing membership in the church, finances, the building, networking, and just sort of notable things that have happened. If you are a lead of a resource, this is a good time for you to fill in the gaps. This is a good time for you to fill in the gaps because this is, what we use for people to be on the same page, so we don't have to do it all during a business meeting. So, do any of those seem more interesting to you than others? Because we can go in a different order. Big participation day. John wants to do finances. All right.
Just
All right.
to get it over with.
Be careful what you wish for, John. So we're going to do finances, and Colin is really the finances guy, so Colin's going to talk about finances.
And inside he's like, yay.
Hello. Well, to be quite honest, not really prepared to talk about finances considering the business meeting is in a few weeks. But, in general, we've been having a whole bunch of cash flow come in with the whole, church line of credit thing that we've been using to get a bunch of stuff done and a bunch of, little projects and security going on and whatever. So there's just been a whole lot of cash flow, and that is a really good thing because that has equipped us to do a lot of things that we never would have been able to do before. But in general, our tithe has been in a slow upward trend over the last couple years or so. And so we're operating for the most part in the black every month if you were to take out all the money that we spend on improvements, because we spend a ton of money on working on the church and stuff. But if you're just talking about regular operating costs, we're doing really well. And so yeah, that's a relatively new thing and a very good thing.
Is that
All right.
is that a dot? Is that a period?
Yeah, that's definitely a period.
Let me just
Would
make
you
sure
like
that there's
other
some
topics addressed?
Let me make sure there's some perspective for what he's actually saying. As you know, he is in charge of finances, but he directly reports to me in that regard. And you've seen me talk about finances for years, except for Nearing, who hasn't been here. But I want to guess, Jake. Okay, so there's more of you that haven't. So let me just put it in perspective. When he says that we're operating in the black and our everyday expenses are being taken care of, that has not happened in this church for the past, 15 years or so?
Not for a full
Not-
fiscal year.
It's been 10, 15 years since we've been fully operating in the black in our day-to-day expenses. We've had to come up with creative changes and do different things, and for the longest time, poor Pastor Dad there, we weren't able to give him any type of raise. In fact, we cut his salary as Glencoe before Aletheia took over. And Aletheia started out with, a deficit. And we've had several opportunities to try to raise extra income and that type of thing. And if it wasn't for the fundraisers and that type of thing, our daily operating expenses would not have been taken care of. Not to mention